this is Dunwich, but big, more expanded.
Yes, wow, brilliant. I wish they would have given it a lot. Yeah, have your relic suck on this.
Wait, what?
Welcome everyone. We just finished the Drown City expansion for Arkham Horror LCG.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have some thoughts.
How many hours did we spend collectively playing this campaign?
Easily like 12.
What is your gut feeling on this campaign after finishing it one time?
My feeling is that I think this is dragging down my score for Arkham Horror LCG. I think this has genuinely made me dislike Arkham Horror LCG.
I think the best way to put it is I don't know who this campaign is for. I don't know, is this campaign for people who are brand new to Arkham Horror and have never played the LCG before and this is their first campaign? Because if so, there's some scenarios in this campaign that have a tremendous amount of complexity. Yes. Some of the scenarios are simple. They can be completed quite quickly.
Yes, very, very quickly. It's almost like it's not even worth the setup. Yeah, so you want to start talking about, I guess before I continue, we can talk about my experience with Arkham Horror LCG. This is my third campaign. Technically, I've only done the first one, which is the core set, so it's not really a campaign. We did the video on Dunwich Horror. Yeah, and you are the one who have experienced. You got me into this.
Yes, I've made maybe like 16, 20 characters, something like that. I played a lot of campaigns.
You love this game, but of course, as you were saying, this game kind of lives and dies by the campaign. Despite the deck building being amazing, you're still playing a campaign. You're still playing scenarios.
Yes, so that's probably a good lead in. The character I played is George Barnaby, who is the most confusing investigator I've ever played and ever seen. He's also maybe just the most powerful investigator I've ever played with or as. He can kind of do everything. And once he gets a very small amount of experience points to get a few essential cards, he's like a can opener. He's like a human can opener. He can demolish every single skill test in the whole game. And the Drowned City has a lot of discard card encounter cards, which actually make George Barnaby a really strong choice for this campaign in particular, which I'm sure was intentional when they designed it. You saw, even though you maybe didn't live to the end of all of our scenarios, but you did see that I had, like 15 assets in play.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you could probably even see it on the camera. Like, there's just so many in front of him.
A lot of these are treacheries and story assets, but in the previous two scenarios, I was just like spamming them out. So yeah, George Barnaby, simultaneously really fun, but way too complex for me, for my brain, my tiny brain, to play him optimally.
I actually almost picked him. I was going through the investigators first because you let me pick, and I was thinking, wow, this guy is really cool. And I was looking more into his ability. It's too complex for me. I got to pick something dumb. So I started with Michael McGlenn, who's like an Irish gangster mobster dude. I've actually never played him before, so this is the first time I actually got to play a Michael McGlenn. And this guy is just a straight meathead. Like, he's just like full on aggro. He has starting 5 fighting skill power, so that's crazy.
5 is a big number.
5 is a big number, and he's all about equipping weapons. So when I was deck building, I was like, oh, this is going to be simple. It's all about just getting like a bunch of nice weapons to equip, then equipping them, then firing with like as many weapons as you can, because each one that fires gives you a resource. But actually, in reality, when you're playing the game, it's pretty boring because, yeah, you're good at fighting, but the game is more than just fighting. There's not always monsters there. You suck at every single skill check besides just fighting. And so you're at this situation where once you get to your like setup where he becomes truly Michael McGlenn with a bunch of guns, he's like 4 guns, some coming out of his viola case, and just shooting a bunch of times, you have way too much money and you suck at everything else. You're like, oh shoot, what am I doing now? Needless to say, I don't think I'm a very good deck builder. but yeah, that was kind of dull, even though it was funny at first and satisfying. There was like a gut punch when I died in one of the scenarios we'll talk about. We'll get into all the scenarios. There's a massive gut punch, but it ended up being a blessing in disguise. So I ended up going with the other new investigator, Marion Tavares, who's like this one-handed entrepreneurial wanderer lady.
Yes, this was a truly nautical themed run.
Yeah, but I think what really sealed the deal for her, it was fun, it's very satisfying, is playing one of her included cards called Determination. And so it's a card, I guess we can put it on screen here, but it is a question mark for a skill check or a skill, what is the word? Is like
It's a wild.
committing it. It's a wild for committing it to a skill test. And if it's for an event-based skill test and you succeed, you get it back. So like Peak Marianne Tavares is playing like 2 determined on an event and then getting those back, and then getting to play another event for free, and then getting it, and then succeeding that and getting these back into your hand. So which is why 1-2 punch is great. But yeah, enough about the characters. I think we have so much to talk about with the scenario design.
Oh yeah, so this is going to be all spoilers from here on out. We're just going to talk about every single scenario. To start with is One Last Job, where we are in Arkham and we are trying to get an artifact for Mr. Tillinghast.
He doesn't really tell you why, right? He's just like, hey, go get this thing for me. And it's your last job.
So yeah, you're running around Arkham. You're fighting gangsters that are spawning on top of you. There's a fantastic treachery card. I remember thinking, wow, if all the campaign is like this is a pretty smart design. Caught in the Crossfire, where you put it into play, and when damage is dealt to a criminal enemy at your location, then you have to test a book test or a foot test. And if you fail, the enemy takes 1 less damage and you take 1 damage because you are literally caught in the crossfire and you are getting shot at. I just think that's cool. I can't say any of the other encounter cards in this deck did anything for me.
I think for me, I've only played Dunwich Legacy, and I kind of got some deja vu of the first scenario in Dunwich Legacy where there are aloof enemies. This one also had the same thing.
You mean the Clover?
Yeah, the Clover Club.
Because that doesn't have to be the first scenario
it doesn't.
that
Okay.
you do.
Well, that's good.
I get what you're saying. How you're running around, and when you're in the gang headquarters of Sadie, I forget the name, but yeah, you're just hanging out, and then the other gangster squad breaks in, Naomi, and it's like, wow, there's so much reading to do, and there's so many mechanics at play, but then you realize, oh, actually, we can spend our clues to have them shoot each other and kill each other for us.
For the Drowned City one, yes? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little bit cartoonish, for sure.
Oh yeah, no, it's very pulpy. It's very like rattle me bones, bop, 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 bop. Just like walk in to this casino, or I guess it's a warehouse, and
Yeah.
just start gunning them down.
Right.
Just kill them all.
It's like you're in a Mexican standoff, and everyone's shooting each other. Ba 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 ba.
But I really like the imagery of your character. Like you've put clues on the gangsters, so they're not paying attention to you, and you're kind of like hiding behind like a desk. You're like sneaking around, like where is this thing Tillinghast wants? I think that's great.
So yeah, do you want to talk about how this kind of like sets a tone for the rest of the campaign?
I don't think it does.
Okay.
I don't think it's successfully. I mean, it should set the tone for the rest of the campaign, but I don't think the rest of the campaign is very pulpy at all until the very end. On its own, I think it's a very fun, cool scenario that I would really like to replay again, but it doesn't set up anything for what happens later, except at the very end. And like, it doesn't use flooding tokens. It doesn't use the gear deck. There's no glyphs. There's just a lot of mechanics that are very important for the campaign as a whole that are completely neglected. And it really gives the opening scenario a feeling of this was a standalone scenario that they appended to this campaign, which is not to say it's bad. It just mechanically doesn't quite gel with the themes that the campaign is going for. What did you think of One Last Job?
This is okay. Again, a very deja vu to the first scenario of Dunwich Legacy. I thought it was fitting that Michael McGlenn as a gangster was there. That was kind of cool. Yeah. You want to talk about how we get introduced to all these characters like Andy and whoever the hell, and then we move on to the second scenario. There's like a big interlude, right?
Yes.
You're in like Tillinghast, who is your boss. Yes. You're in his office.
You have a huge interlude, so we're introduced to Andy Von Hort. I don't remember. But I remember he likes to draw or photography.
Yeah, he's a photographer, yeah.
His ability is terrible. It's +1 book, which is fine. But his ability is like, if there's no clues at your location, so you've cleaned out all the clues already, then you ignore the first attack of opportunity thing at that location, which basically that's very specific. And I played with Andy for the whole campaign. I think his ability fired 1 time. I was really just committing him for 2 books. So mechanically, definitely one of those story assets that's just like clogging up your deck, just making your deck worse, not actually useful at all. Ruby, I guess she came along with us. She has a few lines of dialogue throughout the campaign, but her ability, we didn't pick her because we went west in Ry'leh. So basically, when you get to Ry'leh, you get to make a choice. You're either going to go west or east, and that determines the ally that you get along with you. So we took Andy, which basically meant we took no one because Andy sucked.
Yes. Right. So you want to talk about this. So now we're in Ry'leh, and we get to really experience.
But before that, we also have Tillinghast himself, who is our employer, who's very obviously evil. Like from the very get-go, he's described like he's doing the Evangelion thing of like he's putting his hands together and he's like, yes, my evil plot. I mean, my completely reasonable plot. You will go and you will get my artifacts. You'll get these things from the city where everyone who goes there has always drowned and died. Ha 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 ha. Do it. And it's described as being like very menacing.
And I will make you rich beyond your wildest dreams or whatever the hell. It's like
he's obviously cartoonishly evil.
Yes.
Extremely so. Which is fine. The last session kind of prepped us for silliness, pulpiness, high action, which is great. Tasks. So what are tasks, and what task did you take?
So tasks are this game's way of giving like a side quest as you start session 2, scenario 2. And there was quite a bit of them. It was very promising at first. I think there was like 7 of these.
I think there were 7.
7. So there's 7 of them, and they all basically ask you to make progress on them as you play through the campaign by doing certain things. And as you get enough progress, then they'll flip over and something cool will happen. So I took a very straightforward one called Good Money, which is all about paying back your old debts. So instead of putting a resource on your character, when you accumulate money, you put the resource on the card. If you get 5 or more, you mark progress. And I never completed it, but yeah. Well, what about yours? Yours is like a No Way Home, right?
Yes. So I think we both picked tasks based on what was recommended to us in the book.
Yes.
So we didn't
off your character.
Yes. I do think, thinking back on it, it probably would have been more fun to pick a task that was not recommended. And the one I took, No Place Like Home, just wants you to reveal basically 6 locations with 2-player. And revealing 6 locations is, in this campaign, the maps are huge. So you get the first one for free because it's where you start. Yeah,
it's definitely one of those things. Like, games should never ask you to do things that you're already doing.
Yeah, it was basically just an afterthought. And then when I flipped it at the end of the game, it gave me an extra move action, which is just really strong. Yeah. But
kept you alive,
I don't know.
For sure.
I never felt like it was a good role-playing tool.
Right. There's a whole thing about the Zion Diary. It's like, oh, you're going to be role-playing a lot with these things. I never felt like that. Like there are some flavor text in the booklet about like, oh, if you have good money and you're playing like this character, read this.
Oh yeah, no, the choices that you get I think there's really only one for each task, but the fact that there is a choice and it's like you can hurt yourself to get some progress, or you can just kind of take a lukewarm choice. That's great. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool. I think it ties into the whole thing where the scenarios feel purposefully long because they give you all these things to do, right? You have obviously these things we just talked about, but you have the glyphs to do, which are like some secret language you have to decode. And then there's a lot of victory points available. And because there's so many things to ask you to do, it's just long. It's really long. They give you these reoccurring monsters that get a little bit repetitive, in my opinion.
So let's
dive in.
Let's Dive?
Let's. Oh, but okay. So the thing about Ry'leh is that it's no longer actually the drowned city. Wow, isn't that crazy? It's like above land now.
Well, part of it is
Part of it.
drowned. I don't
Yeah.
know. Whatever.
Yeah.
We show up to Ry'leh. We're just there, no problem, which is fine. And we have a choice to go west or east. We decide to go west, totally randomly.
They do give you a map though, which is cool. Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
we can put that on the
yes,
screen,
they do give you a map, which is nice to track your progress as you're going through Ry'leh. But I don't know, it's a fake choice because you end up back where you were going anyway. At least that's what it seems like. But the scenarios do change if you're going at them from the west side versus the east side, and we've not approached them from the east side, so I can't say with definitiveness that, you know, if we played again and we went east, that the scenarios would be totally different, or if they would just be kind of similar. Something's changed. I don't know. You know what other campaign does that?
Your favorite Carcosa?
No, the Dunwich Legacy.
Oh, the Dunwich Legacy.
Because you can either go
right.
the Clover Club
Yeah,
or you can go to the university, and you'll go to the other one after that, that's the whole structure of Drowned City is this big loop.
But
that
this
you
one
go
you're playing
around.
multiple scenarios, right? Yeah, that one, Dunwich Legacy was only 1-1.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is the same idea expanded.
Yes. Wow. Brilliant. What genius design.
I think that is sort of an overriding philosophy of this campaign is like, this is Dunwich, but bigger, more
Okay. Yeah.
expanded.
Okay.
So let's start with the Western Wall. This is the one where you are supposed to go underwater and you're supposed to go down.
You get introduced to the the flooding mechanic. And right away, it's like, whoa, you have all these assets you can now bring on you for free.
Yeah, like a diving suit or
There's this
laudanum.
Yeah, they're like ways to heal yourself. I had the alien tablet, which gives you a buff on performing on a bunch of locations, which is really nice. Yeah. And so it's like, wow, we're so strong. Besides that, I don't remember much about the first scenario. I just remember being very dry. You're just going deeper and deeper.
Yeah, it is extremely dry. It is just go to the bottom. And this began the march, or perhaps I'll call it a slog, maybe a grind of let's go to this location. Oh, get the clues. And if we get all the clues, then we can spend an action to get a glyph. What does a glyph do? It doesn't do anything. It means like father or water or daughter or drowned or something. And really, it's just worth an experience point. But sometimes you can get these artifacts that we found a few of them. And if you successfully translate all the glyphs, then you can get a bonus action on these. Basically, that they have two parts. That they have a top part and a bottom part. So you don't get the full power unless you get all the glyphs that they demand. But the problem is you have no agency with knowing what glyphs will be available on what scenarios. So basically, exploration is kind of just a crapshoot. And I felt this really hard as we're descending. It's like I'm going into these little passages to get more clues just because there's experience points to get. Like,
And I remember at this point, I'm like, I barely feel like I'm in a Lovecraftian Ry'leh because we're just swimming underwater. Like, oh, I'm just like in this random area, and then we're swimming, and then we get attacked. Okay, we're still swimming. Cool, we found some glyphs.
Were you defeated in this scenario?
No.
Okay.
No, come on, no.
Yeah, I thought the scenario, it was just kind of crap. It was a lot of like, just get clues and get as many as you want and then leave, or just leave.
Yeah.
And, you're somewhere in there. And that was not compelling at all. It also made no sense. I was pumping out water from under the ocean.
It makes no sense.
It's just like
how can places under the ocean get flooded and
whatever.
Okay, let's go on to
So the next scenario we could have done was either the Drowned Quarter or the Apiary, and I left it up to Ashton, and he picked the Apiary. So we didn't do the Drowned Quarter. So we have no idea what it is.
But the apiary we quite liked, especially I think you had a lot of glowing things about it. I think the way it described things was quite cool. So this is basically like a fleshy maze, right?
The maze is pre-built, and you're just going around and exploring it. You're opening doors to try to find what's inside. It felt a lot like a dungeon crawler, where time is just ticking away and you're slowly running out of time as the walls are literally closing in on you because they're trying to eat you.
Yes.
I think there's like cultists. There's just humans walking around, which that makes no sense.
I guess like they're having some ritual down there. There's pilgrim leaders. There's pilgrim acolytes. They just kind of chill
whatever.
there.
How did they get there? What do they eat? Who cares?
They eat eggs, alien
it's fine.
eggs.
It doesn't matter.
But I think the visual of this scenario is cool because there's a lot of cards like fleshy walls, hungry walls, and you think like, oh, like this is like a living, breathing space. Everywhere I touch is like slime, and there could be something more sinister. One of the enemies that dropped on me was the grotesque amalgam, which I thought was really cool art at the very least. And actually it hurt me the most because every time, and this was actually, I think, the end of us. This is actually what screwed us. So this guy, every time you fight him using a weapon asset, you place a doom on that asset. Well, the thing about Michael McGlenn is that he has a bunch of guns, and you want to fire each of them individually. So I got a little bit too overzealous, and I shot with a bunch of guns, got a bunch of resources, doom ticked up. Then
I think you advanced our doom clock by like 3.
Yeah.
So you fried the scenario.
Yes.
In one turn.
Yes.
And that immediately led to you being consumed
by the walls, which is actually great little storytelling. Yeah, I remember the flavor text was like, "Oh, something is chasing you. It's chasing you. So you go hide in the walls. It's safe and it's warm. And okay, the thing passes. Now you try to escape the walls and you can't. It's sucking you in." And
right. It describes your skin sloughing off, and you're just like sitting there.
It's great.
Completely confused.
I've become the apiary. And it's warm. It's comforting. It's warm. It's an embrace. And I'll just have like a scream that never left my mouth.
But as I recall, you looked like you were devastated.
I was so devastated because this is our third scenario in, and I thought I would be with this guy because I'm like, oh, I'm understanding how the firepower is like, how to get resources, and eventually deck build to get something crazy cracked weapons to shoot everything to death. And nope, I died. I was like sitting in despair for a couple minutes. Yeah, it was bad.
I do think the game properly communicates that there's some danger,
yes.
but I had no idea it was just going to be outright death.
Yes. Normally it'd be like physical trauma. And like,
well, what I thought was going to happen is they give you these specific weaknesses called parasitic infestation, where if you lose that scenario, which we did, but you're not defeated like Ashton was, you put this in your deck. Much like in the vein of the Dunwich train scenario, if you lose that one, you get a weakness added to your deck. You get like a madness weakness. But here, if you lose the apiary, you're just dead, and the people who survive are the ones who are given the weakness. Which again feels like we took Dunwich and we blew it up and we made it like the stakes are even higher. It's more extreme. Again, just making me think, well, then who's this campaign for? Like, would a new player who's like, yeah, I'm playing Arkham Horror for the first time, let's do the apiary. And I don't think there's a lot of like RNG in the apiary. There is to some extent because it plays like the finale of Dunwich, where you're filtering through the encounter deck trying to find locations.
Because you're trying to skip the maze.
Yeah, so you can do the best you can on collecting clues, which I did, and I burned through the whole deck to get all the locations. But, you know, if you're not George overpowered Barnaby, then you might not have the power to get all the clues that you need because you're a new player. And then what's your reward? Oh, you're dead.
Yeah.
Campaign over. Like,
yes.
Oh, okay. Well, back to one last job.
Yeah.
The next scenario is the Grand Vault, where there's a thing in the middle and you're following a platform. This is also where I thought the encounter design was at its best, because up to this point we had faced a certain enemy called the Inescapable a few times, who's kind of like Mr. X from Resident Evil. He is inescapable. He just keeps coming back. Even when you're on the platform and you're moving around, if you leave him, he will just magically teleport onto you, which is kind of stupid, but it's actually, I'm totally okay with it. It feels like a slasher villain,
yes,
like Jason, just like, ooh, and he's here, and he like peels open the doors. Here I am. That's great. If anything, my only problem is it's too fiddly to like pick up the location and take all the clues off it, all the enemies, and swap it with another one. But otherwise, it was fine.
Yeah, it was kind of dry. I just remember a lot of location swapping, and then we just swap, and then we got the thing, swap, went back, we escaped, we're good.
Yep. So basically just a scenario you could have completed in like 10 minutes, but instead we tried to activate every location and we dragged out the time.
So the next scenario is also pretty similar in the idea.
Yes, the next scenario is instead of going down, we're going up. We're going up an elevator called the Court of the Ancients. And I think at this point we were both just kind of really bored of Ry'leh. So you're like, I don't care about the glyphs. I don't care about getting more XP. We got so much XP. We were just done.
Well, which one was the scenario that took like 2 hours? Was it the Apiary?
The Apiary took a long time. Okay. Going down took like an hour and a half. The moving platform one, that was 2 hours easily. And I mean, we pushed that to its limit. We went as far, like we went to the edge of the doom count. So this one, we were just like, whatever. We'll just rush to the top, and we finished it in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It took longer.
Easily less than 10. I think it was like 7 minutes or less.
It took longer to set up than it did to play.
Which is, not good.
What was our reward?
We got like a glyph or something?
No, we didn't even get a glyph. We got no glyphs. We got no XP. I got no task progress.
I don't remember.
Nothing.
Nothing.
No,
okay.
absolutely
So
nothing. We got 0 XP. We got no story.
Yes.
Just like, okay, you're up the elevator, and then you reunite with Ruby at the top.
And didn't you say this one's called like Court of the Ancients or something? It's like, well, how does this feel like a court?
I think this was the scenario where I realized the design of open world Assassin's Creed style, like here's a bunch of collectibles, go collect them, just doesn't, it's not fun in Arkham Horror to do that. It's not fun for me.
Yes.
I don't like being told that here's the objective, just go to it, and then we win, and the reward is literally nothing. There's no reward for victory. So the only thing, the reward is like you get through it faster.
Yeah, I just have no connection to these. I remember telling Alex before this that it kind of feels like they made, it's like this campaign's not long enough for us to be going through this epic island. There's so many things to uncover. We're getting all these artifacts. And from my perspective, it just felt like they just showed up. But suddenly we just got a bunch of artifacts. Okay, I don't know. Like it felt like each artifact, if they're going to be this monumental in the end game, then they should have had like 1 or 2 scenarios dedicated to them and being like building them up. Tillinghast tells you a letter. He sends you a letter saying like, oh, this is a really important thing. You got to get it. So now there's all this intrigue. What is it? Now you get it. And you're like, oh, this is why it's so important. Let me equip it. Now I can see what it does.
It's too dry, but there's not enough scenarios. Like there needs to be more in Ry'leh. There needs to be more like choices of where to go to really make Ry'leh fully fleshed out. But also the scenarios that exist outside of the Apiary are just not good. Thematically, that is. Maybe, I mean, mechanically, they're pretty simple, but they take hours. They take so freaking long to play.
I mean, the end scenario here was like at least 2.5 hours, right? The finale?
Yeah, but a finale.
Okay.
I'm fine with the finale being long.
Yeah, it's long. It's long.
It certainly didn't help that I played the most confusing, time-consuming investigator ever.
Yeah,
like, if
complex.
I played a very simple investigator, the game probably would have been substantially shorter.
Sure. Yeah, so now it starts getting really weird. It starts to feel like Arcane Season 2 when Jace is going through the wastelands and you're like, huh? This is really desolate. You never watch Arcane, but you probably put some injury on there. It's just like weird. It's like things just get weird and it's still already so desolate. There's no NPCs we meet. So there's nothing to like really garner from the world, the island, that is just like, oh, it's weird. And there's Star Spawn. There's Deep Ones attacking us. Okay. We don't get to talk to any cultists. We don't get to find any specific like lost remains of an expedition or anything. It's just, oh, we're here. It's weird. Let's keep exploring. Cool. We found glyphs.
So we escape from the heart of Ry'leh. We get to the Obsidian Wall, which is, I thought, really cool.
Is this the wind one?
It's the wind one. Yes. You're riding around. Sometimes there's this enemy that can attack you that when you're engaged with it, it doesn't provoke attacks of opportunity to do anything. And if you're on it, you can basically fly in the air in these like open sky locations, which is so great. And it's actually like in 3 stages, this scenario, but I played it by myself.
I don't remember how I died. It must have been on Marion. I think I just went insane then. No, I took physical. Oh, right. Okay, so this is... All right, this is a combination of me checking out plus me never really getting a good visual grasp on the game. And the inescapable, I guess this is very thematic, it's very fitting to the campaign, where he gets to attack you twice if he's on you, and each attack does 2 damage. So he hit me twice for 4 damage. Then there was another enemy, I think it was a star spawn, that attacked me for 2, so that's 6 damage, and that just killed me. I just died.
It's very cool. It really tests you mechanically. Again, who is this campaign for? That is such a confusing design, and there's so much like rules overhead to remember. So many mechanics. And it's also really long, and it's another scenario where you get no reward unless you specifically go out of your way. I think the scenario is great. Just, man, if I played that scenario with my dad or something, it would have taken like 3.5 hours or 4 hours. And granted, he's a little bit slow at playing this game.
Right.
But so then we returned to Arkham.
But before we go return to Arkham, I think this has a nice little bit of flavor text. You have this, like, I don't know if they officially call it Interlude, but Cthulhu spawns. And as you're departing the island, he spawns. And now there's like this huge sense of otherworldly presence. There's an urge to get down on your knees and honor him. You have to look away. And finally, you make your escape by hopping on the boat. He swims after your boat, obviously. And then you're like, oh, snap. And then he gives up. So you're thinking, huh, that's odd. Oh, I guess that'll never happen again, right? We'll never see him again.
Why did he give up?
I don't think they even say.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You know, we the story must continue.
So we get to Arkham, we meet Tillinghast, and he's like, oh, you did it. You retrieved the item for me. Good. Ha ha ha. Now I can do my evil plan. I was secretly evil this whole time.
Yeah.
Isn't that a huge twist?
And then our character's like, cool, we got our money. Bye-bye.
And so Tillinghast summons the Deep Ones.
Right. So you kind of leave Tillinghast, and like later on, I guess like a couple months later or something.
I thought it was just minutes.
No, so your old adventuring team, they come up to you and they say, hey, we haven't talked to you in a while. It's been 3 weeks, but we thought something was kind of up with Tillinghast, so we tried to find him, and he was acting kind of strange, and we left his shop, and then we were like in Tibet. Like, what the hell? And we've heard that his shop was teleporting around Arkham, so something's really weird. So we came back from Tibet, and we ganged up with this guy called John Raymond Legrasse, and he's all about investigating Tillinghast. So something's up. We think he's like summoning these demonic forces. We got to go investigate. So that leads into this second to last scenario, which is in the finale, which is kind of like a reclone of Dunwich.
I just realized Tillinghast is Armitage if Armitage was evil.
Yeah.
Yes.
So so basically this scenario is like a clone of something in the Dunwich Legacy, right?
Yes, it's the same as, I think it's Blood on the Altar, where you're just walking around, going to location in Dunwich, and you're flipping over treacheries, trying to find one particular room. And this is basically the same, except you're in Arkham, and it's flooding, and the location is not like a room with some horror in it. It's a room with Tillinghast, and he's got all the artifacts, and he's like, "Mwahaha, I have all my power. All these artifacts are around me. You can't hurt me, you foolish investigator." And you walk in, and you're like just beating the shit out of him, and I like run behind him and just steal all of his artifacts, and he's like, "No, my power."
And then he's just like, he was already so withered, and he just drains away, and he dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that scenario was great,
Yeah, it was cool.
and it was
felt
silly.
Pretty standard. But I thought it was really funny because I had the dynamite, and at some point I just wanted to chuck it at Tillinghast and be like, yeah, have your relics suck on this. Just blow up all the relics. No! And then like since the relics I don't think they actually disappear off it, but it'd be funny if they did blow up and then he would like die because he'd run out of his demonic forces powering him up.
Right.
Ah, no. Yeah. I think the best we got in this campaign was the Inescapable, who's just like, oh, I show up. Hello. Surprise. I've come to attack you.
He's a slasher villain.
Yeah.
He has no personality beyond he's just a cold-blooded killer.
Yes.
And he just wants to kill you because he just does.
He just does. Yeah. And then you got Cthulhu, which is Cthulhu.
Well, I was going to say, I think
yeah.
Tillinghast is a more interesting character than Cthulhu in
definitely.
the story,
Yes.
which is sad because Tillinghast is a nobody. He's just like some goofy, evil old man who's like, I use my arcane, my occult power.
I wish they would have given a lot more storytelling moments. For example, like him writing you letters and like desperation. And you can kind of like get hints about, okay, yeah, this guy was evil, but what is evil going to like lead into? Like, are we perhaps doing something in Ry'leh that is like not worth it. Like maybe the money's not worth it. We should turn back. But no, it's just like he just has all these powers suddenly, and you're like, how does he know all these things? How did he get to teleport his shop? How does he like a superhero now?
Whatever. That's fine. Just stop thinking about it.
Yeah, just let him
It's
be evil
fun.
and kill him.
No, I genuinely don't mind that too much. But what I do think is interesting that you bring up is that would involve a lot more reading.
Yes.
Everything you describe.
That is true.
They're not trying to make a product that is perfect for everyone, but just like for a specific group of people. So perhaps if you don't want a tremendous amount of reading, then the Drowned City is fine for you.
That gets us into the finale, which we just finished today. Yeah, at this point we have a lot of experience points, like an insane amount. Must be like what, 25 plus for you?
Oh, hell no. No, I have like 40.
Oh yeah, 40.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so-
Maybe you have like 20
okay,
because
sure,
you,
'cause I
you
died,
perished.
yeah. I was already profiting so hard, even at 25 XP or ish. Also doing the tasks, I got 3 XP off that, I believe. So I didn't get like the true ending off of it by flipping the card and getting more resources, I'd imagine. But I was also able to get nice XP, which turned into like a strong fight card.
Yeah, I think the tasks are great. They might be my favorite part of this campaign. By doing them, presumably, you won't progress to the end. So they're like something else you have to go off and do. Unfortunately, that is the design philosophy for the whole campaign. So they just kind of always come along with you. At least for me, it was like I never thought about my task even once because it just completes itself.
Right, so now we're at the finale. This is like ultimate pulp, man.
Yes.
Ultimate pulp. It's raining really hard.
We have
Things are flooding.
we have a board that's got Cthulhu's face on it.
Yeah. Great. So this is the first time we're using this board. So I'm like, yeah, it's cool. We know Cthulhu is coming, so we're gearing up. It literally says in the flavor text, like, we're gonna fight him. Like, me, Andy, John Raymond, and all our other allies are going to band together. We're gonna kill Cthulhu, because sure, you can do that.
Right.
Right. So at this point, I deck build. I'm like, okay, we're going all out. We're going super aggro. I know. I got everything. I got the 1-2 punch upgrade to the max. So I'm gonna punch Cthulhu to death. I've dynamite, beat comp. Yeah.
Cthulhu himself is broken up into 3 parts, and you're supposed to keep killing those parts over the course of the game, kind of like Monster Hunter.
Yes. You break apart. Yeah.
Yes, but they will regrow, and we didn't know that. So you went all out on the first round, and you killed Cthulhu in one shot. Like, you just blew off all of his parts in one go. It was a masterpiece.
It was
of
insane, yeah.
devastation. Unfortunately, that was just the beginning. We had to do that 2 more times. Yeah, I think two more times.
Yeah, 2 more times. Yeah.
And that was a problem because you got
Well, I lost all my cards.
Yes.
And I got a very crippling other card, Ominous Silence, which I couldn't play cards unless I tested. No, I couldn't play cards unless I paid a resource or a horror. I didn't have any resources left, so I started paying horror for things, and that really snuck up on me.
and that test you can auto pass if you're in a
Non-flooded location.
which, because we took too long on the previous scenario to find Tillinghast's room, every single location was flooded.
And then Cthulhu, I think, had a card from his deck, which I think is cool.
Yes, yeah,
Cthulhu has
it's
his
it's
own
really
deck.
great that
Yeah.
Cthulhu has his own deck of cards that he plays from, depending on which of his monster parts are in play.
Which is cool, yeah.
They have rooftops that you can walk into in the last scenario, which can get destroyed, and Cthulhu just destroys the location completely, that's cool.
That's
and if
cool.
you're on those rooftops, you just die.
Yeah.
which is also
That's nice.
great.
Yeah.
But Cthulhu himself is more like Godzilla. He's not really Cthulhu. You just run around and you just shoot him enough. I mean, once George Barnaby spends like 45 minutes getting his Ultra Instinct engine turned on, then the game is over. I had enough damage, and you could spend clues in this scenario to count as damage, which is really good. Oh, yeah. And then, like, the biggest middle finger is Legrasse, who's freaking dead. He's dead.
Because I died.
Yeah,
He died with me.
he shows up with the police, and they're like, yeah, we'll get him. Bam, bam, bam. So all the police shoot Cthulhu, and that's what kills him. Like, fuck no, that's not what happened. I killed Cthulhu myself. George Barnaby with my torch. I was like sticking
Improvised
him
weapon,
with it. Yes,
yeah.
I was throwing bricks at his head. till he died. That's what killed Cthulhu. Wasn't
silly.
Wasn't these fucking
What? It's
cops.
like these cops show up with like pistols, shooting like the metal armor or this otherworldly hide, and it's just like bleeding out Cthulhu. Cthulhu's like, then he just goes back in the ocean. And you're like,
yes,
we saved Arkham.
We saved Arkham, just like that.
It's so silly.
It's unbelievably cartoonish to the point where it's just laughable.
It is very silly.
I think if Ry'leh was equally pulpy and over the top, and this was kind of like the climax point, it would be great. But as it is, it's more like we have super high pulp, and then as this diagram kind of shows, we have like a lot of fun, high action, and then just like a horrible slog of slogging through Ry'leh. Oh, did we get enough feathers? Did we get enough musical notes? Did we get enough like random tattered pieces of parchment? Just like random shit that we're picking up for experience points.
There's no humans in Arkham either when it's happening. There's no NPCs.
Not in the finale.
Yeah, not in the finale.
Part 2.
Sure. And even in the previous one, there's just Tillinghast. That's it.
I certainly think your enjoyment was probably not improved by dying repeatedly. Three scenarios.
I think so.
You died.
Yeah. Again, I guess more thoughts on that when we release a final review on Arkham Horror LCG. After we do maybe one more set, we'll see.
Yeah, so what's your feeling on the Drowned City after Cthulhu was killed by George Barnaby and no one else?
I think more and more I'm feeling that this game, like, it's tugging at my strings in two different ways, where it's very... I like Lovecraft a lot, and I find the appeal in the flavor text and the monsters and the weapons, but when I'm playing, I just don't feel like immersed in it. There's just too... Maybe it's like a visual thing. The art is cool, but it's too small for me. The monsters are just kind of bouncing around. They don't feel like real monsters. I don't know what it is. And of course, the deck building, because there's so much focus on min-maxing your deck building, I don't quite feel like I'm ever scared. The more I play this game and the more I understand all the cards in it, the more I like the deck building. I think the deck building is so fun. I remember saying after every single scenario, it's like, well, now it's time to do the best part of Arkham Horror LCG, and I'm deck building. And at this point, I know a lot of the cards well. So, you get to that point in any trading card game, it's like, wow, like I'm really feeling the neurons popping off with all the interactions I can do. And then like I play the game, I set down my deck, I draw 5 cards, I'm mulling, like this is really cool. And I read the flavor text, this is really cool. Then we spawn on the board, I'm looking at the locations, I'm like, gosh, no, we have to collect clues. Oh my God, it's another monster I have to kill. If I kill a monster, there's no reward in it. There's nothing, right? It's just like, it just dies. I would say I think my general score from Arkham Horror is just going down despite my deck building enjoyment going up. I don't know if it's quite a 2, but I think it's 3 out of 10. Wow. I had a bad time with it. Yeah. Yeah. It really just felt like a slog. I think it's a big part of I don't think it's even me dying, because if I'm dying, I don't really care. Like I'm just chilling, right? I'm not like engaged anymore, but I don't really hold that against it too much. It's more about just the scenarios feeling really dry, like really devoid of life. There's no like NPC to latch onto. Andy and the other person are just like, I don't know, they're almost like paper dolls at this point. They just show up, they say a line, and they just kind of blend into the background. I don't feel like I'm on expedition with like a whole cast of members. There's the flavor text is usually not helping. I think the best flavor text was with Tillinghast and then with Cthulhu. Everything else was kind of like unmemorable to me. I think a lot of this, especially once we got to like the platform stuff, just kind of felt like Arcane Season 2, where it's like, yeah, great. I'm just like in a dry area. I'm just trudging forward. Just gotta get through it, man. We're just gotta get through it. The glyphs they seem cool in nature, but they're kind of forgettable. At the end of the game, I was looking at our special story assets. I'm like, great. So now we can't use any of these because we can't use like the good part of them because we haven't quite unlocked them. So yeah, but piloting Marion is cool. It's fun. I like piloting Marion. Also, I think 2 hours is not like 2.5 hours is not a good medium for this sort of game. I think it should stick to 1 to 1.5 hours. Like it's just not worth playing for this long. But yeah, what do you think? I know you love Arkham Horror, so it's all going to be gushing and then hating on Drowned City.
Yeah, I mean, suffice to say, yes. I think a lot of stuff in Drowned City is really cool. There's a lot of cool encounter card design, like the Inescapable. I really like the monster robot enemy that respawns itself. It reminded me, again, of Dunwich Legacy, or Dunwich Horror, of the black serpent from the museum. enemy that respawns itself. It really is kind of like Dunwich Legacy, but just more. So if you like the Dunwich Legacy, I could imagine you would enjoy this campaign too. I did not enjoy it very much at all. I think Ry'leh is dumb. I think Cthulhu is... I just don't give a shit
like
about
Godzilla.
Cthulhu at all.
He's just so... Dude, you should be going insane from just like being within 100 yards of him.
I hate collecting crap. I hate collecting. I don't like Assassin's Creed trying to get all the sea shanties or all the floating feathers or like climbing up all the towers. That way you can max out your character. It's just so bland. If you speed through these scenarios, you will be punished. We'll hit you on the head with a stick. And the carrot is all the little tiny locations. That's all the experience
They give you,
points.
like 1 or 2 VP. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the flavor is too, because you have to go to the glyphs on those locations to flip them over to read the flavor. And if you don't do that, then what does Drowned City offer you? Nothing. It has a insanely stupid narrative that's just like pulp action cartoon slop, which is fine. I like it. I like the pulp action slop. I think it's fun. I like pulp action stuff. I like Indiana Jones. I like whatever else.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else. The Mummy, maybe?
Yeah, I like The Mummy. And this kind of feels a lot like that. Like we're going on an adventure to a mysterious place.
It's not dumb enough.
Yeah, it's not dumb enough.
Or it's not silly dumb, I guess.
That's the
word.
problem.
Yeah.
It's not over the top enough.
It needs more like just we're just roping through Ry'leh, I don't know, like hang gliding through Ry'leh or something, and then we make an escape, and then like the inescapable is chasing us, and we all jump on this makeshift plane, and then we sail off into the beach, and then the Cthulhu's there, and then we sail away. It needs that.
Dude, why is there not a vehicle scenario?
Right.
Like we're on a plane, and dude,
There's even the one where you're in the air.
And there's like that monster that like attaches onto you.
Man,
Yeah.
that would have been sick.
The inescapable is like jumping onto you, and if he ever like jumps onto your plane, then it crashes and you all die or something. I don't know. Just do something more.
Or yeah, he's on the plane and he's like going through the plane locations and he's trying to destroy the engines.
Yeah,
or, like,
that'd be
break
great.
the fuel thing. You
Yeah.
put little damage to.
Yeah,
God,
man, it would have been
that would have been sweet.
it would have been good. Yeah. So, any final thoughts on the Drowned City?
Yeah, so my score on the Drowned City is probably a 3.
Okay, so we both match.
It's
Okay.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's bad.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I can understand why someone would really like it. Because I think there's a lot to like about the Drowned City.
And the investigators are cool.
Absolutely.
Just buy that.
I can't wait to go back to Carcosa.
Great. I've been
Please-
hearing this all the time.
Please
Let's
take
play
me
Carcosa- or
back to
had this.
Carcosa. God, Carcosa is so good.